Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the presentation of the project results of OPM3 Portugal. Here I'm going to show you the results for IT, Information and Telecommunication Organizations. I'll start with the results of the project, then I'll show you the results for the portfolio as well as the organizational enablers. Then you can see also the best practices that this organization achieved, as well as the summary of those results. Starting with the first process, the process ownership, which achieved 100%. It means that these organizations have a clearly identified person or a number of persons which are responsible to implement the processes on the organizations. Moving on to the initiation phase, we have the two processes, the project charter and identification of stakeholders, which are the first one, the project charter achieved 57%, which still has some margin to improve as the importance of this process. And then the identification of stakeholders is not so important as the previous one, but still it must giving all the attention for the IT sector, achieving only 7%. On the planning phase, we have the development of project management plan achieving 38%. It's also a low score as well as the project charter. These two should be highly recommended to improve. Then the quality requirements a little bit better with 55%. Definition of scope with 100%. Here the definition of the scope is fully implemented on these organizations, as well as the definition of the activities with 100% as well. The WBS structure, the WBS achieved 57%. Near to that score is also the sprints of the activities with 52%. That the remaining processes related with activities are the estimation activity resources and estimated activity durations with good scores, as well as the development schedule and estimate of costs. Not so well is the determinate budget. The process to determine is only achieved 10%. The processes related with quality, human resource plan communication are all with 0% on the score. The processes related with the risk are 0 or near 0, with risk management and the analysis of the risk as well as the plan risk responses with 0%, and the identification of the risks achieving only 7%. The last process for the planning phase is the plan procurements, which achieved 83%, which is a good result. We have here, you can watch on the last column, the best prices that were achieved on each process. Following the next slide, we move to the execution, monitoring, control phase. Here we have the results. The first process for the execution phase is the direct and managed project execution, achieving 62%. The quality assurance achieved 0%, as well as the developed project team and managed project team. Only the projects related with the project team, only the acquisition of the team achieved a score a little bit reasonable with 17%, still a low score. Distribute information with 93%, so almost 100. There's a good distribution of the information for these organizations. The expectation of the stakeholders that you can see are not managed. They're 0%. The conduct of procurements is fully implemented with 100%. The monitor and control project work achieved also almost 100%, achieved 95%. Then the performing integrated change control achieving 40%, and the verified scope and control scope they achieved lower than 30%, 26 and 5% respectively. The control of the schedule is a little bit better with 48%, and then control of the costs here, as you can see, the organizations are putting more effort, they're putting more consideration, they're giving more responsibility to this process with this area of the costs achieving 95%, almost full implementation. So on the quality control, only 5% was achievable. The report performance with a medium value of 50%. Monitor and control the risks, again 0%. Administer procurements with 100% as close procurements. As I talked before, the procurements area are an area with highly interest for these organizations, achieving very good results, and only 24% on the closed project or phase. So the result of the project management area maturity is 46%, and the best practices achieved by these organizations are 39%. As you can see, the number of the best practices on the last column, which I'm going to show you on the next slide, on the following slides. After the portfolio and the organizational enablers, I'll show you which were these best practices that were achieved. But first, let's talk about the results on the portfolio management. The portfolio management achieved only percentage of the score at one process, on the first process, which is the process ownership, meaning that the organization have clearly are responsible for someone to implement new processes and to improve them. All the remaining processes are marked on red, meaning that they're all on 0% of the score. So the total score for the portfolio management is 7%, and none of best practice was achieved by information and telecommunication organizations. So moving on to the following remaining domain, the organizational enablers. These results show us that are a bit better than the previous one, with more yellows and a few greens. I'll start with the first one, the policy and vision, with 58%. Then the strategic alignment, a little bit better, with 67%. The resource allocation and the management systems with 44% and 50%. The sponsorship, also on the green, showing us a good result with 71%. Then organizational structures with 59%. Competency management a little bit lower with 33%. Then the individual performance appraisals. Here the evaluation of the members are not being putting much effort on, with only 8% the score. Then the project management training with a good result, 87%, showing that the importance of the project management into their practice, into their methodologies, in achieving better results in the projects with more success. Then the OPM communities with 5% only. The OPM practices with 47, methodology also near with 40, and also near with 52 we have the OPM techniques. With light red we have the metrics with 17 and the project success criteria with 25. There was not evidence on practices related with benchmarking with 0%. There is no comparison with organizations of the same area of what they are developing similar projects. And then on the last one, the knowledge management and PMIS with 27%. Then we can see on the basis that 42% was the result for the IT, information and telecommunication organizations on this domain, organizational enablers, achieving so 42% and 5 best practices that you can see on the right side. Here are the best practices of that were achievable by these organizations in the information and telecommunications sector. You can see them with more detail here in different stages of the project. We have the processes in initiation, planning, executing and control, as well as the closing in the different stages, as well as the best practices achieved on the organizational enablers. Now I'm going to talk about making a summary of the results for this sector. The overall maturity level achieved was 9%, counting all the best practices, methodologies that the organization are putting on the effort. Even not achieving the best practices, that maturity is 37%, so we should focus on the last line for the maturity for the sector. 37% was the score. Also, to continue, but for individual of the domains, we got 46% for the projects, 7% for the portfolio, and 42% for the organizational enablers. On the project management area, just focus on the project management, we have 24% on the standardized, 31% for the measure, 26% for the control, and 12% for the improvement. As you can see, the measure is a little bit higher than the standardized, and also even the control is higher than the standardized, which means that measure and control are higher. So the organizations are actually putting more effort into the processes in this stage than they should, because the standardized should be higher. So first they should standardize the processes, and only after measure, control, and improve. 44 best practices were achieved by a scope of 300. It means that 14% of the best practices were achieved. There is still some margin to improve here by these organizations that only achieved 14%. Now the last slide, I'm showing you the results on the graphic, where 9% is the overall maturity at all levels, portfolio, program, and project. With the program was not part of the project, it shows on the top with 0%, but it was not evaluated, was not part of the scope. And then portfolio was evaluated but was achieved 0%, and the project with 23%, which is divided on the 24% on the standardized, 31% on the measure, 26% on the control, and 12% on the improve. The organizational enables achieved 7%. And with this I finish my presentation. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.